From Brownsburg High School in Brownsburg, Indiana, welcome to coverage of the 2021 Sneakers for Santa Boys Basketball event here at Brownsburg on the ISC Sports Network. Alongside Jan Bozier, I'm Rob Connett. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning, one of 7 games here across the day. It's a big event, Sneakers for Santa, and Jan, we're off to a good start with Plainfield and Brownsburg here this morning.
No doubt about it. Both these ball clubs pretty close to each other, Plainfield and Brownsburg, and so the fact that both these teams really know a lot about each other, but that's not the big one. The big one is Brownsburg remembers a 1-point sectional loss, Rob, from a year ago, so that is on their minds, but these are really 2 different ball clubs. A lot of graduation.
That's right. Plainfield beat these Brownsburg Bulldogs for that sectional championship 29-28 as part of a 24-3 season that the Quakers had. But like you said, Jan, they graduate a lot of talent, as does Brownsburg. A young squad for both teams. Plainfield 2-1 on the season, coming off of a 74-52 loss last night to the Quakers. Brownsburg 2-2 on the season. They lost to Franklin Central in a conference matchup last night, 41-37. But you take that away, they go and get ready for a big event here today, one of 7 games across the day. Brownsburg Plainfield, we got Gary 21st Century and Tuscola of Illinois coming up later. Hammond Central, Fort Wayne Northside, Attucks and Linton Stockton, Carmel and Homestead later on today. Goes to show a lot of great talent here today at Brownsburg High School.
This is really becoming one of the bigger events of the year in basketball. We start out every year.
Underway with the first game of today. Plainfield in the visiting red uniforms, Brownsburg in the whites, and Plainfield, we're going to be saying Cale Vanderbush, his name a lot here tonight. But how about Brownsburg getting started with a steal and a bucket for Derek Fudge III?
I think our expectations, this will be a little bit slow, but pressure is certainly 100%.
Plainfield will try a 3. That's no good for Colin Schmidt, a sophomore averaging 8 points and 6.5 rebounds per game.
And both teams' leading scorers graduated from a year ago. Plainfield, Ian Scott, now one of the players at Grace University. For Brownsburg, Thomas was the leading scorer, and he's gone as well.
Brownsburg will try a 3 on the left side. It's in and out, no good for Cameron Reich. 6'2 sophomore for Brownsburg, and we'll have our first foul of the game. So Cale Vanderbush, a senior for Plainfield, shooting 62% from the field, 23 points and 9 rebounds per game.
Yeah, those are pretty solid percentages. And while we haven't even had a chance to mention it on a slide, boy, did he elevate. Wow.
Great job for Cale Vanderbush.
Yeah, there he is.
Plainfield on the board.
And you talked to some of the coaches, but both these ball clubs had difficult nights last night, so they're playing pretty quick here after a very short rest from losses of last night.
Yeah, quick turnaround for both teams, and that is the case for a lot of these teams that will be playing today. But, of course, you got to have 2 teams play the first game of the day, 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, but they're all right with that.
Yeah.
Because it means, hey, we're playing ball.
If I'm a coach, the best thing you can do after a loss is play as quick as possible. If that's an hour away or 8 hours away, you just want to play because you don't like going to sleep on a loss.
Plainfield lost to Whiteland last night, 74-52. You see head coach Andy Weaver in his 10th season with the Quakers.
Yeah, and he's had some great years. 19, 20, and 24 wins 3 years in a row.
A steal, Spencer Porat, but the Quakers get a ride back. The 2-2 ball game, we've played 2 minutes here in tonight's. I keep saying tonight. I got to get used to this morning.
Well, for a lot of the crew, I think it's still all one and the same.
Nice feed underneath and getting it to go. Garrett Irwin is on the board. Irwin, a junior, 9.5 points, 5 rebounds per contest for the Quakers.
Plainfield switching just about on every move.
3-pointer, no good for Cameron Reich. And the rebound for the Quakers. So we've talked about Cale Vanderbush. He's their top guy for Plainfield. For Brownsburg, Sean Tupola has already committed to UIndy, going to play some D2 basketball at the collegiate level next year. As Garrett Irwin gets it to roll.
I tell you, Plainfield coming out with a lot of focus and energy here early. One of the things that's really been kind of problematic for Brownsburg is here early in the season, Rob, they have not shot the ball real well from outside.
Three-pointer in the corner. That won't go for Derek Fudge III. It's a 6-2 lead for Plainfield. We've played just over 3 minutes here in this morning's contest.
Coach Steve Lynch, for the most part, a very man-to-man oriented defense.
Vanderbush controls it. Irwin already has 4 of the 6 points for Plainfield. This is a Plainfield team that averages 71 points per game. Brownsburg coming in at 57 points per contest. That 3 off the mark, no good for Carson Melvin. Going to have a couple of substitutions, including Sean Tupola, the 6'9 senior for Brownsburg, as is Cannon Catchings. You see him right there on your screen, if you're wondering. Yes, that is the nephew of Tamika Catchings, longtime Indiana Fever player. Went here to Brownsburg High School.
Yep. And yeah, Brownsburg can really make it difficult in the paint. They can throw a lot of height at you. You mentioned the Plainfield averaging a lot of points. They've been doing really the last 3 years where they put up, you know, all the 19, 20, 24 wins. They've really emphasized pushing the ball in the last 3 years. Of course, you got to have the talent to do that, and certainly they have.
First free throw good for Cale Vanderbush. Eli Ellis onto the court for Plainfield, another top scorer for the Quakers, a 5'9 sophomore averaging 13 points per game as Vanderbush makes it 8-2 halfway through this first quarter.
Yeah, really good start for the Quakers.
As Brownsburg tries to feed it underneath, and El Haj Diallo could not handle it. And turnover for the Bulldogs. Again, they're coming off of a 4-point loss last night in conference play at Franklin Central.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good Franklin Central ball club. They're 2-1 on the year, but that's a pretty good ball club. So still a loss, but I mean, you lose to a pretty good team.
Brownsburg's 2 wins this year came in a tournament during the Thanksgiving holiday, taking on Fort Wayne Concordia and Fort Wayne Northrop. Beat both of those teams from the Northeast.
Pretty good pass back door, but there's where that height can become a problem with rim protectors in there.
Brownsburg still looking for their second bucket of the game. They'll try the top of key 3. Catching, swish! Cannon Catchings.
Well, that's what the doctor ordered. Brownsburg just need to get something going.
8-5 as Vanderbush had it stripped from his hands, and Brownsburg forces the turnover. Another 3. Off the back of the rim, no good for Diallo. Loose ball picked up by Plainfield, 2-on-2, driving to the hoop, and nice a block by Diallo.
Diallo really protecting the rim. He's got long arms. They got him at 6'4", but wow, he looks at least that. Take a look at the fast break here. It's a good awareness here, but Diablo, he recovers really quickly and gets the block.
8-5, 2:45 to play here in the first.
One of the better gyms in the state of Indiana. How can you not like playing high school basketball in here? Wow, is this gorgeous.
Varsity Field House is what they call it here at Brownsburg High School. 3 on the way. That's off the mark, no good for Fudge. And the rebound for Plainfield. This is a Quaker team averaging nearly 33 rebounds per contest as they Turn the ball over there, but then get it right back. Nicely done by Cooper Martin to poke that ball right back into the hands of his teammate. Now he gets the ball. That rims out, no good. Good look so far for both teams.
Yeah, they really are. They're not shooting real well right now, but at least you like the energy and you like the shot selection.
Here's a three on the way.
There
That is good. El Haj Diallo ties it up at 8.
Diallo getting active on both ends, offensively and defensively.
It's a 6-0 run for the Bulldogs. A minute and a half to play here in the first quarter.
Well, Brownsburg's trying to take everything away from inside, so they're basically forcing, unless you're going to beat us, you're going to have to shoot it from outside.
Melvin cut off baseline. Kick it out to Martin. Now Vanderbush for 3. Won't go. And it will belong to the Bulldogs.
Well, you certainly see what the legs are like here early when you're playing back-to-back games here early. A lot of holiday tournaments, a lot of, invitational type of events. But this is great. This is what coaches really like. They really get a good look at their players, see what lineups work, and get a lot of playing time for a lot of kids. This is what you want as a coach right now, to really kind of see what you have.
Jumper won't go for Catchings. Under a minute to play now here in the first. And this is just a great time of the year. We just wrapped up high school football with the state finals over the Thanksgiving holiday. Boys basketball now in full swing.
Oh, yeah.
Girls basketball a couple weeks into the season as well.
Well, if you're like you and me, we're just sports junkies.
Yeah.
We try to get some sleep now and then, but at the end of the day, man, you go from one event to the next, and it's the best.
Again, we got all 7 games today here on the ISC Sports Network. 3 on the left side. No good. Put back, though. Nicely done. It's Cale Vanderbush. He has 6 of the 10 for Plainfield.
Yes, he does. He's really their scorer.
Catchings. That 3 is short, and that will end the first quarter. Nice start for both teams. It's a 10-8 bowl game. Plainfield in front. We'll be back on the ISC Sports Network.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Of the literally thousands, check that, hundreds, check that. Okay, some sports card shows that are out there in the world. The Andy and Bruno show is the one you should watch, because we have Andy, who's been there and done that, everything in the hobby, and is now a mogul.
Mogul.
Yes.
And we have a guy, Bruno, he talks too much. I can't help it.
Watch the Andy and Bruno show and hear me talk too much.
Yes, and hear me smile.
Welcome back to Brownsburg High School. Rob Connett, Jan Bozier, and the rest of the ISC crew. Our first of 7 games today here at the Sneakers for Santa event. It's sponsored by Ryan Owens of Allstate Insurance. If you get a quote, it might get you a ticket. Get a quote from the Ryan Owens Agency of Allstate Insurance on the south side of Indy. You'll be entered into a monthly drawing for a college hoops experience with Ryan Owens and Greg Rakestraw, going to some of the top college games across the state. Search for the Owens Agency on Facebook or call 317-802-1550 to find out how you can win.
Well, Brownsburg continues to really clog the paint. Plainfield is going to have to do a little more being patient type mode, if you will, because they try. Part of their game is dribble drive, and it's just not there right now. We've got another timeout.
Cooper Martin got the steal and was able to get the timeout awarded to him.
Well, he tried to save a possession there. Good call on his behalf because they wanted to keep the ball, so timeout's appropriate there. But I think if you're Plainfield, a team that you talk to the coaches, nobody wants to talk about a loss like they had because they haven't had one of those in a long time. So I think for the most part, all things considered, they've come out and competed pretty well here early.
Again, they lost to Whiteland last night, 74-52.
Well,
like you said, Jan, a 22-point loss. Plainfield doesn't
they have
have
not had
many of those.
Well, and let's face it, Whiteland now 3-0 in the early season as well, so that's a good ball club. So I always feel like you just get better play. Even if it costs you a loss, you get better by playing good ball clubs. We do.
We talked with some of the coaches before the game this morning, asked them about last night. They said Whiteland shot the lights out.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, you got to remember, we only have one guy returning from last year. A lot of these players that are getting varsity playing time and starting this year for the Quakers only played JV last year. A very young ball club, still trying to figure it out. That will work. Colin Schmidt with the three.
Yeah, good possession that time. Nice ball rotation and got a good open look.
Porath will try to respond. He does from the left side. Spencer Porath, the sophomore, with the triple.
Well, you're talking about teams playing really well. I was at North Putnam last night. They had 18 three-pointers. How's that for shooting?
It's been a fun couple of nights on the ISC Sports Network.
Yeah. Crews everywhere, players everywhere. Love it.
Again, looking at the schedule for today, we got Brownsburg and Plainfield right now. Later on this morning, Gary 21st Century, one of the top teams in Class 1A. Going to be taking on Tuscola from Illinois, another 1A school from the neighboring state. Vanderbush with another lay-in.
Yeah,
as expected, Jan. He is leading the way for the Quakers.
Gary 21st Century has a couple of nice juniors returning this year, too, so that should be a good ball game. We don't know a whole lot about the team they're playing, but understand I think they're 2-0.
Yep. Yes, they are. So Tuscola from Illinois against Tuscola.
Have you been to Tuscola?
I have not.
I
had
either.
to actually look up where that was from. They are just south of Bloomington, Illinois. How about Cameron Reich hitting the three, and Brownsburg has waken up.
Brownsburg's warming up here a little bit. We got a ball game.
15-14, early stages of the second quarter. Maybe they're just like us. we needed a first quarter to wake up this Saturday morning. Jumper won't go from the right side.
Bulldogs laying everywhere, getting physical now.
They can take the lead on this possession.
Much better ball rotation by the Bulldogs, getting them better looks from the outside.
Matt Scholes, he's checked in for the Dogs. That's Cameron Reich, along with Derek Fudge. And the Bulldogs will slow it down here on this possession. Grant Porath, that's the sophomore. Now they try Fudge, top of the key three, short. It will go out of bounds and belong to the Quakers.
Well, really good inside position by the Quakers for the rebound. And they're going to have to do that because clearly Brownsburg has the bigger and taller team. But to compete with taller guys, you've got to emphasize checking out. Plainfield, a really good job that time.
Sean Topola checks in for Brownsburg. One of their top scorers from a year ago. Three-pointer good. Vanderbush again.
Yeah, he's not been disappointing. He's really brought his A game here. So he'd been averaging 23 points a game going into last night. Had 18 last night.
Porath drives to the hoop. Won't go. That's the first time we've seen the Bulldogs try to drive inside the paint really this morning. And a transition bucket. It's Caden Vanderbush laying it in. And Plainfield up by 5, and they force a timeout.
Yeah, Brownsburg not real happy. Not getting back on defense at all. Plainfield really recognizes it and gets an easy 2.
19-14, Plainfield in front. And we want to remind you the Cinderella Strategy. It's a book by Graham Honecker and Jerry Logan. It gives you the inside scoop behind Butler University's rise to prominence over the past decade. Indiana's rich basketball history and Butler's Hinkle Fieldhouse are central characters in the story, which focuses on how the university leveraged back-to-back Final Four runs in 2010 and 2011 to benefit the school as a whole. The Cinderella Strategy is a great gift idea for any hoops fan in your life. Christmas coming up. You can order your copy of the Cinderella Strategy by visiting thecinderellastrategy.com.
Well, one thing you kind of recognize here early with Brownsburg, they have a much taller team, but quite honestly, they're negating their size because they're not going inside. So you see that sometimes, and coaches have their reasons or not the reasons, but at the end of the day, man, if I've got some, you can't coach 6'10". I mean, you can't create it. Use it, and while I think that's what Coach Lynch wants a little more of, they're getting some pretty good ball movement, but they, I think, could take some advantage of height if they go against Plainfield inside.
And Sean Topola, a 6'9" senior, still looking for his first point of the game. There's Cannon Catchings, a 6'6" sophomore, has a 3 here in this first half. But Plainfield has been playing pretty good lockdown defense as that shot won't go for Grant Porath.
Well, Brownsburg just locked into how good their outside shooting is right now, and right now it's not pristine, so they're just not taking advantage.
5-point lead for the Quakers halfway through this second quarter.
I think you're starting to see Plainfield, Rob, be a little more patient as well. I like the fact they're dribble driving, but man, they're going against some serious sequoia trees in there. There's some serious height in there.
As Eli Ellis that was trying to drive in but had it blocked out of bounds. They get it into Caden Vanderbush. And another rejection.
Nice
Topola,
ball fake.
Oh, nice moving. Vanderbush couldn't complete it.
Yeah, good ball fake. Got him up, but that wasn't able to finish.
They'll kick it back outside. And again, the Bulldogs will slow down the pace. Under 3.5 to go here in the first half. 19-14, Plainfield in control. Both teams looking to bounce back from losses last night. Catchings, short jumper, no. Out of bounds and belongs to the Quakers.
Take a look at the block here. Rim protectors all around. If you're going to get this shot, you got to be quick. You cannot delay because that's what you get. You got to go up quick and early if you're going to get a lay-in against this Brownsburg very tall ball club.
Sean Topola.
I've been noticing the last few possessions that Coach Lynch really being animated on the offensive end, just not real happy with what he's getting.
Cale Vanderbush off the back of the iron, and a strong rebound there for Topola. Bulldogs still trail by 5. They'll try a 3 with Diallo. That is off the mark. Loose ball picked up, and Catchings flushes it.
Catchings has really came in and played pretty well. Couple offensive rebounds, that one huge.
I think basketball might run in that family.
I'm taking a wild guess. And the question is, did Tamika teach him everything he knows?
Again, he is Tamika's nephew. That was partially blocked, and then a whistle going to be called. They will get the foul against Brownsburg.
You know, the other thing we're noticing, really neither team go real deep, Rob. Last night, I think Plainfield only had 7 players score, and Brownsburg not going real deep. Well, I say that, and they're going to unload the bench. Scrap that.
Getting ready to substitute.
Yeah, he's just
players.
well, he's just not happy at all with his offense.
Yeah. Garrett Irwin to the free throw line, hits the first one.
Yeah, Coach Lynch, that last offensive possession, he was really getting on him about movement and what and where he wanted, and he turned around and said, "You 4 in."
You saw him talking to Grant Porath calmly.
And this is where you do a lot of coaching because you got younger ball clubs, teams without experience, and that's why we talked about this in the opening, why these tournaments are so important to work these type of things out.
Back up to a 5-point lead for the Quakers, closing in on 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Scholes looking to drive.
Yeah, I'd love to see Scholes. He's a big young man. Go up and create a foul there.
6'6" senior.
Yeah.
Hands it off.
Use that size, man. He's got serious shoulder muscles. I'd take advantage of that.
Catchings trying to feed it inside, and a foul going to be called.
Well, that time he was being double, triple teamed. That's not his fault. That pass should have never went there. It's simple math. If there's 3 players on one, that makes other people wide open.
Foul called against Carson Melvin, his first. Pretty clean first half. 5 fouls for Brownsburg. That was the first foul for Plainfield in this first half.
I give the credit for Brownsburg on the defensive half-court defense. I give Plainfield with the pressure overall little defense. So overall, both teams a little different, but I think they're both playing really hard.
Catchings. Got it.
Yeah, and I think he's the hot guy, and his team now needs to see that, Rob. If you got a hot guy, give him the ball.
Makes it 21-18.
Yeah, he's kept him in this game, to be honest about it.
Catchings now with 7 of the 18 for the Bulldogs. So that was deflected into the backcourt. Stays with Plainfield. 1 minute to go.
Now, if you're Brownsburg, get a stop here.
Contact, nothing called, and the bucket won't go for Cameron Young.
Not a bad shot, but just 1-on-1 only. Now, if you're Brownsburg, you get something here, you've kind of recovered from a not-so-good shooting half. Great hustle. Great hustle. I love it. Both teams just giving it all. Both of them happen to be number 3. Nothing. You take that foul all day long as a coach, man. Take a look at this. Both guys just playing as hard as they possibly can right here. Look at this. You want to be on a basketball court, play this way, and you're going to get a lot of playing time. And that's not even shooting a basketball. Just playing hard, you know.
Good hustle. They did get Martin with the foul as both players hit the deck. Just the second foul of the half for Plainfield as we got 38 seconds to go. Good ball game here. Plainfield up by 3.
I'm looking for Catchings. I mean, he's had the hot hand. Give him the ball.
There he is. They'll give it up to Lynch. Or check that. That's Porath. Catchings. Stops inside the paint. Nice move. Oh, couldn't finish. And a foul going to be called as Tupola went up.
Well, but Catchings was deep enough in the paint. While he was not able to get the ball up high enough, he still had a teammate right underneath the bucket. So while it wasn't quite the shot he wanted to get up there, it's still a good shot because he had a lot of help inside for offensive rebounding.
Sean Tupola knocks down the free throw, and he is now on the scoreboard. That's his first point.
Yep. Just a 2-point ball game. We've had a little bit of ups and downs for both ball clubs. Each team, though, when they get behind, have been able to fight back and get right back in it. And I felt, I think you did too early on, just like that sectional championship game a year ago, 28-29. Well, I don't think we'll have that score. I think it's still going to be close.
Yeah, close, low scoring.
If we have that score, then there's not going to be any score in the second half.
Down to 5 seconds. Ball movement by Plainfield. Got to get a shot up. They do at the buzzer. No. And the first half comes to a close. What a game we got to open up Sneakers for Santa. Plainfield 21, Brownsburg 20. We'll be back with your halftime stats right here on the ISC Sports Network.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirits, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hi, I'm Query.
And I'm Schultz.
And of course, we do the incredibly creatively and appropriately named Query and Schultz program every Monday on ISC Sports Network. Derek, it airs at what time?
7:30.
Okay, every Monday at 7:30. We're now on season number 2, and if history tells us anything, catch us now because you never know when they pull the plug on it.
Why would you say that?
Because it's happened
That's not going
before.
to happen here. Comcast, Xfinity 81, ISCSportsNetwork.com, ISC Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, so many places to watch. Query and Schultz, 7:30 on Monday.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Of the literally thousands, check that, hundreds, check that. Okay, some sports card shows that are out there in the world. The Andy and Bruno show is the one you should watch, because we have Andy, who's been there and done that, everything in the hobby, and is now a mogul.
Mogul.
Yes.
And we have a guy, Bruno, he talks too much. I can't help it.
Watch the Andy and Bruno show and hear me talk too much.
Yes, and hear me smile.
21-20, your halftime score. We got a good one to start. Sneakers for Santa, Plainfield, and Brownsburg. Rob Connett, Jan Bozier, and the rest of the ISC crew with you here. As a little bit of a slow start for both teams. Then, kind of like what you said at one point in that second quarter, Jan, both teams found their rhythm, and then some turnovers and good looks but bad shots, and a little bit of everything in that first half.
Yeah, and the thing I noticed, let's start with Brownsburg. Their half-court defense is really good. They really pack in the paint. They got really solid length. They got rim protectors, so they make it really difficult for teams to drive on them. So that really forces your outside shot to come into play, and at least early on, Plainfield shot the ball pretty well. For Brownsburg on the other end, they just kind of struggled to get any flow going in their half-court, and you could tell Coach Lynch just was not happy with their shot selection and made some wholesale changes at time. And I thought there that last 3 minutes of that first half, they had better movement. And I really think catchings really was a big piece of that. On the other side, I thought Plainfield really came out of the gate and had a lot of energy, played hard, got the early lead. And now all of a sudden, the defense for Brownsburg is starting to take hold a little bit. So Plainfield's going to have to make some adjustments. And for me, they're going to have to be a little more patient because of the rim protectors.
Plainfield, you mentioned Cale Vanderbush for Brownsburg. Cannon Catchings, the sophomore, has 7 points to lead the Bulldogs.
Thought he was really good there in the second quarter.
For Plainfield, Cale Vanderbush, 10 points. Garrett Irwin with 6 to lead the Quakers. And again, this is one of 7 games we have here today at Brownsburg High School. It's the Sneakers for Santa boys basketball event. They did the girls version of this last weekend. Now we get the boys all day today. And we haven't even talked about, Jan, the fact that this is put on by Allstate Insurance.
Love it.
This is the second year that they've done this here at Brownsburg High School, but the real cause is something bigger and better. All week long and really for the last few weeks, each of the 14 teams that are here today at Sneakers for Santa, their teams, their coaches, their schools, their communities have been donating new or gently used shoes for children in their community. So they're going to be collecting all these shoes and then donating them to Samaritan's Feet. So it's a good cause.
Yeah.
Christmas is right around the corner, and obviously we got some great talent, great teams here all day long at Brownsburg, but the bigger cause for this event is pretty special.
I just think that is so awesome for teams and communities while their competitors on the court, unite in a great cause. And to be able to do that, I hope this thing continues on and gets better. While it's a great event, the cause is even bigger. So I just applaud it and applaud all the sponsors who certainly help and for the big cause. I mean, that's what Christmas is all about. You come together and give to a lot of things, and we're blessed as a society, and to be able to give is the right thing to do.
So again, Plainfield leading Brownsburg 21-20 here at the break. Coming up after this one, we'll have Gary 21st Century, ranked number 4 in the 1A polls this week, taking on Tuscola from Illinois. That'll be right around 11:30 here on ISC. Then later on, Hammond Central, number 10 in Class 3A, taking on Fort Wayne North. And then later on this afternoon, how about these games, Jan? Crispus Attucks, ranked in 4A, taking on Linton Stockton, one of the top teams in Class 2A. Carmel and Homestead.
That should be
right around 5 o'clock.
Those two teams know each other ever so slightly.
Lawrence North and Heritage Christian, another couple of ranked teams. And then the nightcap tonight, 4A, number 1 Cathedral, taking on Brush High School of Ohio, one of the top teams in the Buckeye State. So great teams, great talent, a full day of hoops here on ISC.
Cathedral's really good this year, so that really, just really great games. Come out if you can to Brownsburg. If not, join us on ISC for sure. Really, some really good basketball.
You and I got the next one, Gary 21st Century in Tuscola. John Herrick will be calling some of the games later on today, and then Greg Rakestraw will be doing that Cathedral game. He is a busy man, as he always is.
Yeah.
He's actually up in Northwest Indiana later on this afternoon for some college football.
Yeah, Greg's like that guy, you know, for years that had like that colored hair and was John 3:16 sign. Every football game you turned on, that guy, you never could figure out how he was ever two games at once. I always felt like it was Rakestraw because he's like at every single sporting event ever. I've known Greg for 20 plus years. He's a great friend of mine, but he is Mr. Sports, that's for sure. And I don't have to do a lot of studying because anything I don't know, Greg, what's this mean? You know, you just know. I told you, I beat him 3 times in 15 years in trivia. So he just knows everything.
The man's a machine and an encyclopedia. 21-20, your halftime score, Plainfield over Brownsburg. When we come back, we'll have the second half right here from Brownsburg High School on the ISC Sports Network.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirit, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hi, I'm Query.
And I'm Schultz.
And, of course, we do the incredibly creatively and appropriately named Query and Schultz program every Monday on ISC Sports Network. Derek, it airs at what time?
7:30.
Okay, every Monday at 7:30. We're now on season number 2, and if history tells us anything, catch us now because you never know when they pull the plug on it.
Why would you say that?
Because it's happened
That's not going
before.
to happen here. Comcast, Xfinity 81, ISCSportsNetwork.com, ISC Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, so many places to watch Query and Schultz, 7:30 on Monday.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
When they played each other in the sectional championship last season, it was Plainfield beating Brownsburg 29-28. Here in this regular season matchup, it is 21-20 as we start the second half. Thanks for joining us here on the ISC Sports Network. Our first of 7 games, part of the Sneakers for Santa event, sponsored by Allstate Insurance. Rob Connett, Jan Bozier, and the rest of the ISC crew with you here.
Well, I think we can see what adjustments that Coach Lynch was talking about at halftime. They come out and emphasize getting the ball down in the paint. Yeah. Hey, let's face it, Brownsburg has 4 guys over 6 or 5 guys over 6'4". Use it.
Yeah, they shot a lot of threes in that first half and only really got inside the paint only a handful of times against this Plainfield defense. Plainfield at 2-1 on the season. Brownsburg at 2-2 as they try to feed it inside to Vanderbush. He could not control the pass, and it will be a turnover for the Quakers.
Well, what Brownsburg does, they collapse. Not only are they tall in the paint, they also do a great job of getting help side. They're collapsing on anything and everything that come in the paint.
Brownsburg working the perimeter once again. That's Grant Porath. Now Spencer Porath back to Grant. Both of them sophomores here at Brownsburg. Try to get inside to Topola. Kick out, Porath for three. Yes!
That's good movement. They got everybody from Plainfield to collapse, kick it back out. He's wide open and strokes it. Nice offensive movement. That's what Coach Lentz was really trying to drive home there late in the second period.
Bulldogs in front, 23-21. And how about this defense now for the Bulldogs? Vanderbush will try the jumper. He connects, and we're tied up.
Yeah, the offense got to run through him. He is clearly their guy that they can depend on to get points when they need them.
Knotted up at 23.
See, there's inside. You can't stop that. That's why we talked about in the first half. 6'7", 6'8", long arms. You don't stop that. You now it puts the onus on Plainfield defensively. Are you going to play behind him? If you do, it's going to be a long night. I've never liked that. I think you deny or play in front, and at least that makes the pass, while it's possible, much more difficult.
Garrett Irwin got smacked in the face. I think it was actually he got smacked in the eye. He'll head to the bench.
I think he lost the contact.
Accidental contact from Cannon Catchings.
Well, I'll tell you, Brownsburg has come out and played with some intensity. I'm thinking Coach Lynch might have got their attention at halftime, just taking a wild guess.
25-23. Eli Ellis, one of their top scorers, held scoreless in that first half. Vanderbush gets the foul. Vanderbush with 12 of the 23 for Plainfield. He's averaging over 20 points per contest coming in. Look at that.
Yeah, well,
wingspan, using the long arms with the rebound.
Well, as a senior leader, until they can get a lot of these other players some experience and get this team some, more maturity and playing together, since they are a lot of them so new, he's going to have to carry a lot of the weight offensively.
He is the only starter from last year, or the only top scorer, I should say, from last year that returned. Plainfield graduated 4 of their top 5 guys from that season ago, where they finished with a 24-3 record.
Yep.
Three-pointer good from the top of the key. How about El Haj Diallo knocking it down, his second 3 of the day?
Well, the reason they're getting those shots is because they're emphasizing down deep. So the defense kind of has to pick and choose, and then have to react, and that's a lot harder than when you don't emphasize anything underneath. Boy, the defense for Brownsburg's half court has been outstanding. Hold on, Rim.
Oh, buddy. Cannon Catchings throwing it down, and the Bulldogs with their largest lead of the day at 30-25.
It's my first opportunity to see him, and he is quite the athlete. He's really doing everything.
It's a fast, aggressive start to the second half for the Bulldogs. That 3 will not go for Cameron Young. Second opportunity. Ellis can't connect, and a foul on the rebound.
Well, and now here's the problem for Plainfield. All of a sudden, they're not hitting from outside. I think if you're Plainfield, you got to get to the free throw line a little more here. You got to be careful not to shoot yourself clear out of this ball game.
This is a Quaker team shooting 70% from the free throw line. Pretty good at the high school level.
Well, you're going to get some contact if you drive or post up if you're Plainfield. Brownsburg plays so physical, so you're going to get some fouls. And they're a good shooting team, but I'd like to see them go inside-outside on those shots versus just, continually just shoot from outside with no inside play.
Fudge off the glass.
Yeah, and there's that 5 guys over 6'4" taking control of this ball game right now.
32-25. Brownsburg now in control as we're about halfway through this third quarter.
Well, let me tell you something. This is a different Brownsburg team than we've seen in the first half on both ends of the court. See, that's what I'm talking about. Go inside, and get some contact. Your chances of getting a foul are huge. Take advantage of that. Stop the clock, go to the free throw line. 7-point lead now for Brownsburg. See, that's up and under. More often than not, you're going to get fouled. That's a great move.
Foul goes against Topola, his first. Caden Vanderbush at the line for the Quakers. You mentioned the size of Brownsburg. How about Matt Scholes, the 6'6 senior, checks into the lineup, as does Cannon Catchings, a 6'6 sophomore. And the Bulldogs definitely have the size, and when you play in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, you're going to need it later on this season.
A lot of good teams this year. Fisher's really good. Westfield really good. I'm missing some. I can't think off the top of my head. Southeastern really good. Franklin Central really good.
Yep.
So, hey, you go down the list. Brownsburg really good.
It's a 6-point lead for the Bulldogs. Under 4 to play here in the third. Scholes. And now Fudge. Quakers go the other way. Melvin left it short.
I like the fact he attacked. He felt like he may have got the call, but not enough there, the official thought. See, if I'm Brownsburg, I want to pound inside and see if I can get Plainfield to maybe force them into a zone.
Catchings drives. Blocked by Cooper Martin.
Right, he just stood, held his ground, went straight vertical. See, if that arm's not straight, you're going to get the foul, but I like the official there. Most officials, if the arm is straight, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but if that arm's not straight up, you're going to get the call.
Cale Vanderbush with the and one. And again, the senior averaging 23 points per game. Already has 16 here today.
Yeah, a little crossover move. See, he's that guy who can make it happen. He's got a lot of hesitation moves, a lot of dribble drives. If I'm him right now, I'm going to live at the free throw line because he's a really good free throw shooter.
Got it. Secures the three-point play.
Yeah, look what we got, Rob. Back down to 3 points, and where has Plainfield went? Right to the free throw line.
Cale Vanderbush is 5 of 5 from the charity stripe here today. Gets the Quakers back within 3 at 32-29. Tough defensive battle here at Brownsburg.
Well, I'd like to see that. What we got? Didn't see the call. What did we
Travel?
get? Travel? Well, palming.
Carrying violation.
We knew it was one of the three.
Coach Lynch needed an explanation as well.
Great opportunity now for the Quakers here. They've clawed back and turned it over.
How about it? The defense of Brownsburg taking it the other way. Grant Porath.
Yeah, and that's really great body control. Just kept his composure, laid it up off the glass. That's a nice shot.
You've alluded to it. The Bulldog defense has taken it up a notch here in the second half.
Yeah, that he got a little easy on that layup. Listen, you're going against the big boys in there. You got to go up strong.
Here's a three. Diallo off the back of the rim, no good. Quakers trail by 5.
That's a good timeout. You can tell players' legs are starting to get a little light. Good call.
34-29, a minute 40 to play here in the third quarter. Plainfield taking the timeout. And we'll keep it here to remind you that this Sneakers for Santa event at Brownsburg High School is sponsored by Ryan Owens of Allstate Insurance. Get a quote from the Ryan Owens Agency of Allstate Insurance on the south side of Indy, and you will be entered into a monthly drawing for a college hoops experience with Ryan, along with Greg Rakestraw, going to some of the top college games across the state. Search for the Owens Agency on Facebook or call them at 317-802-1550 to find out how you can win by getting great rates on all of your insurance.
Well, this conversation's been going on for a little while. We'd love to hear what they're talking about.
You think it might have been with the The carry violation?
Well, here's what it usually is. I was a referee for 8 years in basketball. Coaches, the ones that have been around a while, are very smart how they like to play officials. And so while they may not overdo it, they're always trying to emphasize or push for something down the road here. So, listen, I just talked to you about X, and you didn't call X. And I just told you and reminded you about X, whatever X represents. So next time, don't force me to remind you about X. You should have seen it because I reminded you. I'm just saying. I've been there, done that, listened to many a coach. I wasn't a very good listener. I said, go talk to him. I wasn't a very good listener. That's why I talk now versus listen.
That's Jan Bozier. I'm Rob Connett. The rest of the ISC crew. Vanderbush with a wild shot, was looking for the
Beautiful
foul,
bounce
didn't get it. Brownsburg in transition, and another layup for Grant Porat.
Well, that's the bounce pass. Bounce pass, to me, was as big as the bucket right there. Beautiful assist.
Brownsburg up 36-29. They're outscoring the Quakers.
Yeah, Brownsburg has excellent entry pass. Brownsburg has clearly taken their game to a different level here. Much more focused, great passing.
Topola couldn't handle it. Plainfield forced another turnover, and they turn it right back
Well,
over.
Plainfield's a little bit too big of a hurry right now. You cannot afford to turn over yourself out of this game by pushing. Well, you like it. Early on in the first half, it kind of turned out okay, but now, because Brownsburg's defense is clearly playing at a different level, bad passes is now costing Plainfield.
The Bulldogs have outscored the Quakers 16-10 here in this third quarter, leading by 5. Both teams suffering losses last night. Quick turnaround playing this morning. Grant Porat with 4 points here in the quarter. Dishes out to the corner. 3 on the way. No good for Diallo.
That's a big-time rebound, too. He really just kind of out-muscled Brownsburg that time. They're not getting a lot of those rebounds. Now, I'll tell you, Rob, Plainfield needs a really good shot here. They're only down by 5, but this may be as big as any shot we've seen Plainfield have the ability to take here.
Vanderbush has to beat the buzzer, puts it up, and it's short, no good. At the end of 3, Brownsburg now in front, 36-31. Buckle up, fourth quarter coming up next on the ISC Sports Network.
Of the literally thousands, check that, hundreds, check that. Okay, some sports card shows that are out there in the world. The Andy and Bruno show is the one you should watch, because we have Andy, who's been there and done that, everything in the hobby, and is now a mogul.
Mogul.
Yes.
And we have a guy, Bruno, he talks too much. I can't help it.
Watch the Andy and Bruno show and hear me talk too much.
Yes, and hear me smile.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
Whether you are watching on Roku, our social media platforms, on our website, lots of ways you can watch on ISC, however you're doing it. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning as we get ready for the fourth quarter. We got a good one. Brownsburg 36, Plainfield 31. I'm Rod Connett, Jan Bozier to my right, the rest of the ISC crew. We're in for a full day of hoops here at Brownsburg High School, the Sneakers for Santa event. This is game 1 of 7 on the day, and we got all of them for you here on ISC.
Well, let's see what the Red Pride figures out there during that timeout. And I like the change of defense here by Brownsburg. That forces the offense to make a change. Little 2-3 zone now for the Bulldogs.
And a foul going to be called on the Dogs. It'll be the 5th of the half. Plainfield only with 1 foul here in the second half. They only had 2 in that first half. Plainfield has played a really clean game here today.
Yeah, and I like the officials. They've really allowed the kids to play and let some flow come to the ball game, called things that need to be called, but for the most part, they've let a pretty good flow, transpire in this game.
Cooper Martin still with no points here today for Plainfield.
Let me tell you something. I'm only down 5. I'm going to shorten this game if I'm Plainfield. I'm not going to be in a hurry. I want the best shot I can come up with. That's a bad pass.
Yeah, Vanderbush turns it over, but a nice job by Martin to track it down and poke it out of bounds from behind.
Great recovery by Martin to get that thing away. What surely would have been an easy 2, but don't forget, you got 6'5", 6'8" with long arms. That pass has to be way up there. It's going to get touched, deflected.
Bulldogs outscored the Quakers 16-10 in that third quarter.
Good pass.
They kick it out, 3 on the way. In and out, no good for Fudge.
Still good offense, though. Inside, outside, got it inside, defense collapsed.
Get it over to Schmidt for 3. Nope. Offensive rebound for Caden Vanderbush, and then he's fouled.
Coach Lynch not happy because his team did not rebound. When you have the height advantage that he has, your expectations is you're going to get most rebounds, and he's not really excited about the fact that Plainfield's kind of hanging with Brownsburg on the rebounding aspect of this ball game.
A foul went against Grant Porath, his second. Inbound goes all the way back to the backcourt.
I just think if I'm Plainfield, man, I want to try to keep this thing in a couple possession game. You got Brownsburg in their own gym, a little taller than you, playing pretty well. Stay within striking distance.
They scored 69 points in their win against Avon to open up the season. They scored 73 in their victory against Cascade, and then only had 52 points in the loss last night to Whiteland. And another block by Topola. We have a jump ball called. It will belong to Brownsburg.
Well, I'll tell you this zone that Brownsburg play in the half court has really caused Plainfield's offense to kind of stymie here. They're just not getting good looks at all. I really think you got to be patient. You got to get some cutting, get the ball to the middle on the zone, and get to the free throw line.
And this has been more of Brownsburg's game.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Not as many points per contest this year. They lost last night to Franklin Central 41-37. So another low-scoring game less than 24 hours ago. Shot good for Diallo.
I agree with you, man. I absolutely agree with you. They're going to be that team that's going to play in the low 40s, 50s, and defense is going to win them a lot of games.
Timeout taken. We'll keep it here. Remind you of our sponsors here on ISC, including the Cinderella Strategy. It's a book by Graham Honecker and Jerry Logan, and it gives you the inside scoop behind Butler University's rise to prominence over the past decade, Indiana's rich basketball history, and Butler's Hinkle Fieldhouse. Central characters in the story, and it focuses on how the university leveraged back-to-back Final Four runs in 2010 and 2011. You remember that, Jan, right?
I do. I can remember it a lot farther back than you because I've lived longer than you, but I do remember that. But I will tell you one thing I wish, because I used to call a lot of games for high school at Hinkle. You know, the semi-state was there forever, regional. I miss going to Hinkle for high school tournament play. They don't do it anymore for whatever reasons, but I'll tell you some of the best events I ever called in my broadcasting career was at Hinkle. So, you know, sold out venues, just packed. Of course, you know, you can't think every time you go in there, you know, Hoosiers won their game there,
right.
You know, the movie, so your mind automatically goes in movie mode. But I just miss the fact that high school doesn't play in there anymore. It was some of the best games ever for decades.
Cinderella Strategy, you can get it. Order your copy, cinderellastrategy.com. The tie, there's a lot of ties between Brownsburg High School and Butler University. One of them, you probably hear him in the background, the PA announcer here at Brownsburg, Mark Brower, also does stuff for Butler basketball. at
And
Hinkle Fieldhouse.
they're both Bulldogs.
Oh, that's true.
The
That was the obvious one, yeah.
That's the only thing I got is the obvious.
And another steal by the Bulldogs of Brownsburg.
See, if you're going to make passes against the half court of Brownsburg, it's not going to be 8 to 10 feet. It's going to be more than 4 to 6 feet. Boy, this is a part of the ball game where Brownsburg could potentially put Plainfield away. If they're patient here in this half court and get some more points, they could really make it difficult for Plainfield.
5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Brownsburg up by 7 at 38-31. They trailed by 1 at halftime, outscored the Quakers by 6 in the third quarter. And really, like you've been saying, Jan, their defense kicked it up a notch to start that third quarter.
No question about it. Coach Lynch made some adjustments and certainly got their attention at halftime, and they clearly have been much sharper here in the second half, both offensively and defensively. And you're going to see a lot of this.
Yeah.
They're just going to wear defenses down. Just ball rotation, a lot of people moving. You got to be careful about this.
Unforced turnover there.
Yeah, and the problem with that, the longer you have the ball in the half court, your chances of turnover takes place too. So there's a fine line between, really making the defense work and throwing the ball away.
So the Quakers get it back as they trail by 7, trying to avoid a 2-game losing streak. Started the season with a couple of wins, but a loss last night to Whiteland. Nice feed underneath, and it's Colin Schmidt with the layup.
That was huge. Still now a 2-possession ball game. Now this disallows Brownsburg to just sit around and hold the ball as much. It's just 2-possession game. Plainfield's right. That was big because that put Plainfield right back in this game.
Catchings with 9 points today. Hands it off to Grant Porath, who had 2 big buckets in that third quarter off of Plainfield turnovers.
Brownsburg really doing a good job of moving without the basketball. One of the absolute must in today's high school basketball. The teams that move without the ball are the teams that really win a lot of games.
Scholes.
Bad pass.
And it's taken away by Schmidt.
Yeah, Coach Lynch not happy about that pass. It wasn't necessary. You've got the lead, so you don't have to try to create. Just let the ball flow, let it rotate. You don't have to do the impossible, certainly when you have the lead. Boy, now Plainfield, do they ever have an opportunity, Rob?
Coach Weaver talking to his players while the referee
bonus
was
time
over at the
too.
scorer's table. Yep.
Plainfield's in the bonus.
7 fouls on the Bulldogs here in the second half. Just 1 foul against Plainfield. And it will send Colin Schmidt to the line to shoot the 1 in bonus.
Oh, wow.
Missed it, and the rebound by Tupola, who checked in.
Plainfield misses a huge opportunity there because it just allows Brownsburg to really continue to be super patient here.
Down 5, under 3 minutes to play. It's been a great defensive back and forth battle between these two teams. Plainfield got off to a hot start in the first quarter. Brownsburg made it a 1-point game at halftime. They took the lead in the third quarter, and now they're trying to hang on for the final 2:45 of this fourth quarter.
Well, Brownsburg needs to learn from that last possession. While they're doing a good job of moving and rotating their offense, they don't want to take too long and throw this thing away. Get you a good quality shot in this possession. You don't get a good shot here, you're just continually leaving the door for a possibility for Plainfield to make a comeback.
Diallo drives and finishes.
Don't think you can get a better percentage shot than that, Rob. Patience, took his time, planted the feet, went up strong.
El Haj Diallo, the junior, now with 10 points for the Bulldogs.
That's
here
huge.
Today.
A lot of time went off those last 2 possessions for the Bulldogs.
Now up by 7, closing in on 2 minutes to go. Irwin, wild shot,
wow.
got it, and the foul.
I didn't think that thing ever had a chance, but somehow he willed it up there and has the opportunity at the and one. About the time you thought this thing might be over, still Plainfield. You know, the key here is he goes up strong, but you see how he used his body to create that physical contact? That forced the official blow the whistle. He didn't have no choice. But it was the offense who created the contact.
A big three-point play by the junior Garrett Irwin. It's now a 4-point game, 2 minutes to go here in regulation.
2-possession game, big possession now for the Bulldogs. Been a good game for the opener here, really good game.
We got 6 more throughout the day. Coming up, Gary 21st Century against Tuscola from Illinois.
Oh, wow, he thought he had an opportunity. The official said that's too much contact.
Irwin was trying to steal it from behind.
Well, but if you're Plainfield, you got some fouls to give too, so you can be as physical as you want right now. Because at some point in time, you're probably going to want Brownsburg in the bonus. So if I'm Plainfield, I'm as physical as I've been all game.
And just the 3rd foul for Plainfield and a timeout taken. 40-36, Brownsburg in front. Plainfield just won't go away.
Well, you're right. Just scratching and clawing. Every possession now for both teams becomes so big.
And we mentioned coming up after this one, scheduled to start around 11:30, Gary 21st Century, one of the top teams in Class 1A, taking on Tuscola from Illinois. That'll be around 11:30, and then coming up later this afternoon, Hammond Central, 3A number 10, taking on Fort Wayne Northside. And then the second half of today's event here at Brownsburg. Man, we got some great ones. Crispus Attucks ranked top 10 in 4A against Linton Stockton, number 2 in 2A. Two great
Linton
programs.
Stockton just reloads every year.
Yeah.
They just say next. I mean, every year, do you not hear Linton Stockton?
Yeah.
Seriously? In the top 2 or 3 ball clubs and always around tournament time? I don't know how they do it. And that's not a big school at all, but somehow – every year, Linton Stockton, they're always there.
They will be taking on Crispus Attucks right around 3 o'clock today. And then after that one, you think that one's good. How about 4A number 4 Carmel, 4A number 5 Homestead around 5 o'clock.
Carmel really put it to Lawrence Central last night. Carmel same way. They just reloaded. Of course, Carmel the largest populated school system in the state, so you get that. Linton Stockton maybe one of the smallest, and they reload too.
Great
in
team.
all sports. Great.
Yeah,
that's a good comment.
Great games on the schedule here at Sneakers for Santa. The second year they have done this event at Brownsburg High School, but what a way to start today's games. As we got a 4-point ball game, 1:20 to go. Foul called there.
I told you it's going to get physical because Plainfield has fouls to give, so you're going to make the fouls count for sure.
That's just the 4th. And Coach Weaver is going to take another timeout. We'll take a break with them. Man, we got a good one. 40-36, Brownsburg leads it. 1:20 to go here on the ISC Sports Network.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirit, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hi, I'm Query.
And I'm Schultz.
And of course, we do the incredibly creatively and appropriately named Query and Schultz program every Monday on ISC Sports Network. Derek, it airs at what time?
7:30.
Okay, every Monday at 7:30. We're now on season number 2, and if history tells us anything, catch us now because you never know when they pull the plug on it.
Why would you say that?
Because it's happened
That's not going
before.
to happen here. Comcast, Xfinity 81, ISCSportsNetwork.com, ISC Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, so many places to watch Query and Schultz, 7:30 on Monday.
4-point lead for the Brownsburg Bulldogs. 1:20 to play here in regulation. Rob Connett, Jan Bozier, and the rest of the ISC crew coming out of the Plainfield timeout. Aggressive defense by the Quakers, like you said, Jan. They got fouls to give. Brownsburg find underneath. Catchings couldn't finish. Here come the Quakers.
Have a shot.
Into the corner. Three-pointer.
No.
No good for Irwin. And a jump ball going to be called. It will stay with Plainfield.
Wow, I thought Plainfield wasn't a bad shot. Thought it may be just a hair quick, but you can't fault the young man because he was open. You got a 2-possession game, plenty of time here. Plainfield still hanging around.
58.6 seconds. They get it into Vanderbush. He slipped. Ball's loose. Picked up by the Bulldogs. And what do we got? They're going to award the timeout to Brownsburg. How about this Bulldog defense?
Yeah, it's been tenacious to say the least. That's a big play right there. You know, I've noticed a couple times now where Plainfield players have slipped a little bit on that right side. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
A couple times now where somebody's went to plant their foot and slipped a little bit on that right side.
Yeah, Vanderbush almost did the splits as he got that inbound.
That would not be good. 2-possession game, still plenty of time, but now Brownsburg has the ball, and you still got some fouls to give if you're Plainfield. So if you're going to foul your way here, you got to foul really quick here 3 times in a row. And I think you have to. I don't think you really have much of a choice. You have any clock left to do anything. You've got to get some quick fouls here.
Plainfield just 4 fouls. Brownsburg with 8 here in the second half.
Well, neither team, in my opinion, Rob, have disappointed. We really felt like it would be a low-scoring game, a little more than certainly the championship game, but it was still that physical, just grind-it-out type ball game. And I think a lot of Brownsburg games are going to be this way all year long. They're just going to physical you and play defense, and hopefully their offense can continue to get a little more improved. If it does, this is going to be a really good ball club.
If you're wondering about the low scoring, here in this fourth quarter, Plainfield is outscoring Brownsburg 5-4.
I think you got to foul. You just cannot let all this clock run off.
They get it up to the front court, wide open, and Topola will dunk it.
I think Plainfield needed a foul there and didn't get it.
6-point lead, 35 seconds to go. Martin, kick out. Vanderbush, top of the key. That's off the mark. And the whistle blew before the putback.
Yeah, fouls on the floor. Really felt like Plainfield needed to foul there early, but they decided to play defense and try to get a steal, and then you break the press here, and Brownsburg. You think this is a high percentage shot? I'm just thinking it is.
Topola was waiting for it. He was just camping underneath the basket.
Yeah, that makes it difficult now. Still not impossible, but hanging around, 2-possession game. But the clock now not the friend of Plainfield. And here's the problem. They still have a couple more fouls to give.
Martin knocks down both free throws, his first 2 points of the game. 42-38. There's the foul. That's just the 5th on Plainfield with 27 seconds to go.
It was the last possession that allowed almost 10 seconds to expire. Was really interesting to me.
5 fouls for the Quakers, 9 fouls on the Bulldogs.
They got 2 fouls here to give. Got a foul early, and there's a timeout, Brownsburg.
Good take there for the Bulldogs, as they were having trouble with the inbound. That is their final timeout.
Well, Plainfield travels December the 10th to Martinsville. They're 1-1 on the year, but they're on the road here 3 games in a row today. Martinsville and Tri-West, who opened their season with a win. So you really find out what you're made out of early, especially when you're a young ball club on the road.
Yeah.
You know, for what? 4 out of their first 7 ball games.
That's what Coach Weaver and his staff were telling us this week. Said, hey, we are still trying to figure out who we are. You got Cale Vanderbush, the only top 5 scorer from last year's team. They graduated 4 seniors. After Cale Vanderbush, Coach Weaver said, these guys played JV, maybe a little bit of varsity time, but we're a young ball club still trying to figure it out, as they will foul there. It took 1.2 seconds off the clock.
Brownsburg, just obviously, while not technically a home game, it's still their home. Plainfield, then they're back here December 11th against an undefeated Tech ball club. And then they'll be back here again on the 17th against their rival Avon, who's kind of struggling at 0-3 right now.
That's who Plainfield beat to open up the season. Avon 69-64. It's the foul win against Cameron Young, his third. Brownsburg now in the bonus. So they'll send Spencer Porath to the line for the 1-1.
But Rob, you could see, for both these ball clubs, a lot of upside. Here early, you see so much potential because of how they play. And I think if they get better, both teams, they're both 4A ball clubs, could make some serious noise come tournament time.
We've been talking about it all day. Brownsburg's height,
yeah,
but their defense as well.
Well, and once again, they both play in the same sectional 12. I want to say it's at Terre Haute North this year. Does my memory serve me right? I'm going to feel really good about myself if I can remember this. How about that?
Terre Haute
North, baby.
Seems like a long ways away, though, for sectional time.
Well, I did. I said the same thing, but last night we had a girls' game, and last night was halfway season for the girls.
Really? Wow.
10 games for some girls' ball club, so that's halfway. That's how fast it goes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Feels like we just started basketball. Just started the basketball season. We mentioned some of these boys basketball programs, like Mount Vernon, Fortville, Cathedral, that just finished football season last week, now getting into boys basketball.
We were all at Lucas all week last week, just finishing up football. Good week of football.
Both free throws made, 44-40. Double team the inbound, and ball is loose. It's picked up by Plainfield. 10 seconds to go, and they get a timeout.
Still 2-possession game. Plainfield hanging around. Well, you don't have to get a 3 here either, because you got to have 2 possessions. So get the best shot.
44-40. So if you're Coach Weaver here, you drawing up a play for Vanderbush?
I think so. I think you have to give him. He's the best shooter, best playmaker. He can also create. So I always think that during the closure of games, while it's certainly good to have a really good shooter, the guy who can create might be more valuable, because he can stop, get the jump shot, or he can create something. Maybe best scenario is he can go in, get a layup or something like that, or get a shot and get fouled with the clock stop. That's a home run. He's that guy that can create, though, and make that happen.
Cale Vanderbush, 17 points on the day. Averages just above 20 coming into today. Plainfield down by 4. 10 seconds to go. They were able to create the turnover and get the ball and get the timeout. They have just 1 timeout left.
Well, whatever Plainfield has drawn up here, it can't take long to execute, I can tell you that much. Still need 2 shots and stop Brownsburg in the process. Here we go, Rob.
Melvin inbound. And a bad pass. Ball's loose. Picked up by the Bulldogs, and a foul with 6 seconds to go.
Yeah, that's a tough pass in the best environment, because there's so many hands in there. Just felt like he may have seen something early, but Brownsburg once again in the paint collapses, and with that length, so difficult to find any room in the paint.
Cannon Catchings to the line.
Well,
1 in bonus.
I think it's fair to say he's the young man that turned the thing around for Brownsburg, because once his offense got going, Brownsburg got going.
Ball goes out of bounds. They say it will belong to Plainfield. 4.5 seconds left. You're down by 2 possessions.
Yeah, Brownsburg wants to press here to force more clock being used by Plainfield. Key for Brownsburg, don't foul.
Inbound to Vanderbush. Has to pull it up. Got it!
I don't think Plainfield had any timeouts left.
Clock runs down.
Well, wait a minute. I think
they're going to review.
We're going to get some time.
They're going to talk about this. He got it with about
Now, did you see anybody from Plainfield call timeout, Rob?
No,
I'm not sure
I don't think so.
I'm not sure they had any left.
They do award them the timeout. They're going to put 0.3 of a second on the clock.
Well,
Let's see if we can get a good look from our replay.
Well, there's no question he shot it and made it with plenty of time on the clock. The question is, did somebody call timeout? I'm looking. I still don't see anybody calling timeout. Do you?
No. They awarded the timeout.
We're being told someone indeed did. I didn't see it, but we believe him.
They put 0.3 of a second on the clock.
Well, all Brownsburg has to do, you can still get a shot off with 0.3. So it would literally take Plainfield to still shoot it all in one motion, because you have to have at least 0.3 on the clock to have a legitimate shot made. Anything under 0.3, you cannot shoot the ball.
They inbound to Diallo, and the buzzer will sound, and what a game. Brownsburg wins it 44-43. They played each other in the sectional championship last year. It was Plainfield winning by 1. Here today, it's Brownsburg winning by 1. What a game to start our full day here at Sneakers for Santa.
No doubt about it. I thought both teams, the thing I like, still early in the season, both teams really got physical and pressured early, while both offenses are still a work in progress. I think both teams clawed and give theirself a chance to win this thing, and at the end of the day, it was Brownsburg who found one more point than Plainfield.
Cale Vanderbush leading Plainfield with 20 of their 43 points. And leading the way for the Bulldogs here today, how about Elhaj Diallo, the junior, with 10 points. Cannon Catchings had 9. The Bulldogs improved to 3-2 on the season. Plainfield, after a 2-0 start, they have now lost 2 straight games.
Well, basketball, maybe more so than football, is clearly a marathon, not a sprint, and you're going to have some ups and downs. I think you take away a lot more good from both these ball clubs than you do bad.
So Brownsburg wins our first game of the day. And we got 6 more to go here at Brownsburg High School, all of them right here on the ISC Sports Network. Coming up next, Gary 21st Century, one of the top teams in Class 1A, taking on Tuscola from Illinois. Final score here in the first one, Brownsburg 44, Plainfield 43. For Jan Bozier and the rest of our ISC crew, I'm Rob Connett. We'll get ready for our second game here at Brownsburg High School. It's coming up next on the ISC Sports Network.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Of the literally thousands, check that, hundreds, check that. Okay, some sports card shows that are out there in the world. The Andy and Bruno show is the one you should watch, because we have Andy, who's been there and done that, everything in the hobby, and is now a mogul.
Mogul.
Yes.
And we have a guy, Bruno, he talks too much. I can't help it.
Watch the Andy and Bruno show and hear me talk too much.
Yes.